Hello and welcome to Dixie's Storytime World. The Suitcase of Belonging, a Twinkle original. Hondo felt invisible as he trudged across the basketball court. His heart sank. Hondo wished that he wasn't so different and lonely. Every school day, he made his way down to the same bench on the oval where he patiently sat, hoping that someone would come and play. But sadly, no one ever came. On a windy and overcast recess, Hondo spotted his teacher, Mr. Henryon, waving at him from across the oval. Hondo's eyes beckoned him to visit. The only friends that visited him were the leaves dancing around his feet as he sat and waited. At the end of recess, Mr. Henryon presented Hondo with an old empty blue suitcase. Mr. Henryon told Hondo that he would be the first to take it home and would need to fill it with objects that represent his heritage and something he can do well. After school, Hondo sat in his bedroom with the suitcase wide open. He gazed into the vacant space, uncertain of what to place inside. Eventually, Hondo slowly closed the suitcase and took it back to school the very next day. In the morning, Hondo quickly headed to his table. He peered over a book, watching his teacher discover the empty suitcase. At the end of the day, Almar was chosen next. The following morning, during circle time, she shared, "Inside this suitcase, there's a metal toy car from my great-grandmother who lived in Iran." Then Almar reached into the suitcase again and pulled out a canvas of a horse. She declared that she is a wonderful painter, and all the students clapped in agreement. The next morning, it was Sam's turn to share. "Inside this suitcase, there's a ball made from dried plants that my dad made when he was a kid. He grew up on Yidinji country," Sam eagerly explained. "That's awesome," said the students as Sam rolled the ball across the circle. Finally, he pulled out his favorite book and read really well to the class. Then it was Fleur's turn to take home the suitcase. The next morning, Fleur grinned as she revealed, "Inside this suitcase, there's an old French construction set and a Dutch silver spoon. My mem is from France and my oppa is from the Netherlands. This scarf, hang on." She paused as colorful scarves streamed out of the suitcase, causing students to giggle. The following Monday, thick dark clouds hung low in the sky. Shortly after a downpour, Hondo headed to his familiar bench. As he sat and waited, a boy jumped directly into a puddle, spraying him with muddy water. Hondo closed his eyes and longed for a friend who could tell him that everything was going to be okay. Malachi was next to share. He confidently began to reveal his possessions. "Inside this suitcase, there's a Fijian liku that I wear on special occasions," he explained. "Wow!" came cheers from around the classroom. "These are photos of my best sandcastles. I'm proud of them," said Malachi. Sujin danced with excitement when Mr. Henryon handed her the suitcase. The next day, she presented, "Inside this suitcase, there are cute plush toys. My uncle in South Korea sends them to me. I cook delicious food. My dad and I like to use gochujang, garlic, and kimchi," shared Sujin as she opened a container of Korean pancakes. "It smells yummy," called out the students. Then the old blue suitcase was once again sent home with Hondo. He returned the next day and, for the second time, handed over an empty suitcase. Mr. Henryon asked Hondo if he found it too tricky to choose objects. Hondo hesitated for a moment and then nervously said, When we had to flee my old country, we didn't have time to pack our belongings, so I had to leave everything behind." "That's so sad," said a student standing next to Hondo. In the middle of the day, Mr. Henryon suggested to Hondo that he could draw pictures of objects and place them inside the suitcase. Hondo's face beamed as he thought about what he could share with the class. After lunch, Hondo excitedly explained, "Inside this suitcase, there's a drawing of a photo of my auntie. I miss her. And these are pictures of clay animals that I created. I'm good at making creatures." "You're really good at drawing too," a student exclaimed. Dazzling rays of sunlight warmed Hondo as he sat and waited on the bench. He was watching his shadow move when, out of the corner of his eye, it began to multiply. "Hey, Hondo! I love the drawings that you shared. Do you want to come and play with us?" asked a group of students from his class. "Yes, please," gasped Hondo. Just before he left, Hondo took one last glance at the lonely bench and smiled, knowing that he was beginning to make friends. Thank you for listening, children, and learning. Remember, always be good and kind, and I'll see you soon in another story. Bye for now. Thanks for watching and listening. Enjoy more stories at Dixie's Storytime World on YouTube. We're also available on the Kids YouTube app.